Now, one thing, and I know many people have pointed this out, or probably have already realized this, this vessel has no way of kind of getting down to Kerbin's surface. So I'm going to have to park it in a low orbit of Kerbin and then go up and pick these guys up. And I really do not have a vessel that's appropriate for that. I think I don't know, I'll have to look to see what I got, but I've been doing so many one-off missions, I don't think I have anything, definitely don't have anything that can carry 6 Kerbals and get itself into a low Kerbin orbit. Okay, we are on our way out from Eve. You can see this is not quite ideal. Ideally, this ejection should be right along Eve's orbit here, but that's okay. Oh, wait, that's our communication line. Let's get rid of that. But I can now take here, focus that view. I got one more maneuver. And I want to tweak this encounter as good as I can with this maneuver. So, let's put this onto the maneuver. And I'm thinking probably radially one way or the other. Here, let's put that back. Put that up to 5 meters per second. What does that makes move that much? What does a retrograde move do? Oh, that makes way more of an effect. Okay, let's okay, that's having more of an effect there. And then we come up. And then we come in. All right, and we're gonna have to do some aero braking. Now, one thing I do want to do is I do want to come in a prograde direction, and I am. There's my Kerbin intersect, and I want to come in pretty close to equatorial. You can see that by just taking a look at where, let's turn the scale down, this escape is coming, and if it's in the same plane as the moon's orbit really helps with this. Like that. That's pretty good. Coming in a little low here, but not bad. What if I make this ejection? I'm looking at my trajectories coming in below the moon's orbit. If I make my ejection later, that makes it worse. If I make it earlier, that makes it better. There we go. So now I've got my incoming trajectory right along the moon's orbit. See that? And now if I adjust my normal part so that it exits along the moon's orbit, like so, that means that I'm going to be pretty close to a 0 inclination. Now I need to bring that periapsis into Kerbin's atmosphere. I'm going to go for about 45 kilometers and kind of hope for the best. There we go. So I'm thinking, and actually what I could do too, if I set the moon as a target, yeah, I got an A in here. I got a 0.1 degree difference. Can I tweak that even further? I mean, I really shouldn't care about a 0.1 degree inclination difference, but, well, yeah, look at that. That's pretty good. I'm going to leave it like that, like that, like that. 44, maybe a little bit more outwards. Okay, I'm never going to burn it this precisely anyway. All right, so goodbye, Eve. We are now, that burn's coming up in only 55 days. A little bit surprising. Just drop the ship into the Atmo and bail out. Yeah, it's always an option, isn't it? Okay, let's time warp out to here. Oh, I didn't want to make an alarm. Go away. Just time warp out to here. So bye-bye, Eve. It's been fun. Been there for getting close on well over a year, that's for sure. How's our science lab doing? Doing fine? Okay, we are now orbiting the sun once again. And What am I going to get to first? Am I going to be... Let's turn the view back to orbital. There we go. That's better. Am I going to be transmitting or getting to my burn first? Oh, it's going to be close. I'm going to be transmitting first. All right. Okay, again, our science lab is full, so let's transmit that data. Go away, alarm clock. That's what I want. Transmit science. There we go. And let's start reviewing some more of this data, see if we can process some more. Yeah, we can definitely process that one. That one doesn't need to be processed. That one doesn't need to be processed. That's good. I think I got some in here, too. I definitely do. Oh, my gosh. 200 data from that one. Yep, that one can be processed. That one doesn't need to. That one doesn't need to. I can't process that one. I can't process that one. Okay, so there's still lots here. There's still lots here. Oh my gosh. So much science. Alright, but either way, we're going to get to this burn first. So F5, get to the burn. Get into the burn. Hello there, is that Said 507? So what mode is this? This is basically a stock game, is what we're playing. We're pretty much playing a stock game. I used a little bit of Kerbal Engineer because it gives you the nice phase angle, but actually I'm done with it now, so that's gone. And then pretty much all the rest of the mods are really just there to help beautify the whole thing. It's taking a long time to time warp. One thing I'm just worried about with this contract, it just occurred to me. It says return to Kerbin. Do I have to return, bring the vessel that flew by Eve to the surface of Kerbin? Okay, that wasn't well thought out. All right, so, okay then. This thing I don't think can land to Kerbin. Okay, so maybe that final contract is going to need a little work. That's all right. That's okay. All right, getting ready for our burn. Oh boy, we're very close to having to process more science again. All right, all of a sudden I realize it's not the Kerbals that need to come down to the surface, it's the actual craft. I've been burned on that one before. Didn't really think about it. Okay, focus view on Kerbin. Not the moon, but Kerbin. Okay, and actually, can we focus here? Or set that as a target again? Okay, just get ready. I still have the moon as a target. I don't want that, but that's okay. I'm only 14 seconds away from the burn. All right. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. I don't know why I'm watching it from here because this is going to be like a minute-long burn. Okay, so I don't know. Now I got to think about this. Can I, if I can get, I think, the command part of this down to the surface, like attach a whole lot of parachutes to it. I'm not going to do it with, I don't know, or just forget the contract. I'll still probably bring something up to bring the Kerbals down, but then somehow get this down to the surface. I think that's doable. Especially if we get some engineers up here and disconnect a lot of this unnecessary part. And if I have to cancel the contract, I have to cancel the contract. It's not like I'm in desperate needs of funds anyway. Okay, let's see here. Here comes our trajectory. Again, the main thing I really want is to get the inclination right. Or close. Things get easier. It's more expensive to adjust inclination than I think I might have overcooked it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's flip it around and try the other way. And my periapsis is a little low, but that's easy to adjust there. Yeah, I definitely overcooked it a little bit. Staring into the sun is probably not the best plan. Let's bring it back. Whoa, yeah, okay. Let's tweak this right down and go the other way again. Are you sure you have enough fuel? Oh yeah, like I'm pretty much done at this point. I don't have enough fuel for just a capture around Kerbin. I'm going to be aerobraking into Kerbin's atmosphere, which could be fun. I did not test this in any way, aerobraking. So that'll be fun. But no, I don't have enough for a capture around Kerbin, but I do have enough to finagle myself using the atmosphere with some assistance. Because I'm pretty much done now with big burns. Okay. I want to set Kerbin as the target again. Don't know why it's being so. I got the moon here. Unset the moon. That's what I need to do. And now set Kerbin as a target. No. I got too many things all going on there. Set Kerbin as a target. Alright. Is that the way you want to be? That's the way you want to be. Fine. No, I won't accept it. Set Kerbin as a target. Coming out. Keeps just wanting me to... Ah, you're a pain in the back end. Okay, fine, whatever. We got a Kerbin encounter coming up in 77 days. I do have some science to transmit, but let's right now just set an alarm. Create an alarm for that maneuver change. SOI change. Give me like a day warning. So that alarm's coming up in 76 days, 5 hours. Now, one thing I mentioned before is you got to be careful. Sometimes you time warp, and that will disappear, but it's not happening this time, so that's all good. But I do have science to transmit, so let's transmit that science. Orient this again for solar panels. Oh, I'm still time warping. That's what's going on. Silly. Okay. Close that. Close that. There we go. All right. Nice to see a professional having trouble too. I don't know about a professional. There's always stuff that goes wrong with these missions. It never goes like completely the way you think it's going to go. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, am I going to be getting to Kerbin before we've transmitted all this science? Or before we've built up all our science again? No. Yep. That is again another batch of science to transmit. Transmit science. And probably can process more science now. Review the data. Yep, that guy can fit. That guy doesn't need to. That guy doesn't need to. 125. Yep, that'll fit. That might be it. 45. That will not fit. That's it. Okay. Oh my gosh, so much science. Okay, time warping some more. I might need this thing just to stay in orbit around Kerbin for a while, just to end up processing all the rest of the science that it's got collected. Okay, we are coming up on our alarm here. Oh, I can see Kerbin. No, that's Minmus. There's Kerbin. What time do we got here? Yeah, you know what I think I'll do? I think I'll do one aerobraking pass just to see how this goes. I can't go all this way. And then next episode we'll figure out how to... We'll get our Kerbin capture, and then next episode we'll figure out how on earth I'm going to get... See if I can satisfy this contract. See if I can... see if I can get these Kerbals down to the surface. At the very least, that part of it. But let's get our Kerbin capture. Okay. So, we are now in Kerbin's SOI once again. This is a 33. That is a lot, so we're going to point radially out and bring that up to about 45 is my plan. Now, I don't need a lot of thrust here. Good, that's fine. And where's Kerbin? There's Kerbin there. Did you level up your Kerbals? I think... Oh, I think I did forget. Let's see. Level up crew. They got experience, but no more levels. Just level 4 is the best we got. We got 2 level 3s and a level 4 here now. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alright, so I want to just burn and bring up that periapsis up to about 45 kilometers. That feels good there. 45.4 kilometers. Okay, and we will roll this for solar panel purposes. We'll set up an alarm for periapsis and give me like 15 minutes warning. Add that alarm. So that's coming up in 3 days, 5 hours, and 20 minutes. And then I'm going to definitely quick save, and we're going to see how this can go. This might be entertaining. Maybe entertaining. We'll see what happens. So let's begin our long fall to Kerbin. Yeah, 351 meters per second is not enough to get a capture about Kerbin coming from Eve. But it's definitely enough for some orbital maneuvering once we get close. There is Kerbin looking big, blue, and dangerous. Okay, we're going to put you on retrograde right now. And again, periapsis is about 45. I think that's good. We'll get in here and we're going to just see what happens. Going to see what happens. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put this onto the surface retrograde vector. We're going to most certainly... Oh, these solar panels don't retract. I don't think these solar panels retract. Alright, so we will not be having these solar panels much longer. I don't think I have anything. Oh, I got a lot of batteries, but I don't think I have any other electrical generation. Okay, so there's an oversight on my part to put on solar panels that don't retract. This antenna here also might have some fun, but I'm less concerned about the antenna, more concerned about the solar panels. To be honest, I'm more concerned about my Kerbals. I did quick save, so if this ends up turning into a Kerbal death, what we'll do is we will go back to that quick save and rethink. But right now, we're about to take the plunge. Alright, so there we go. We are now entering into the atmosphere. Let's put this on free. Yeah, there we go. That gives us a good view. We'll see how this goes. There's no way, absolutely no way. Oh, turn off the lab. Good call, good call. Stop research in the lab because, thank you, Martin, for suggesting to turn off the lab because electrical generation is going to be an issue. But I can't picture those antennas surviving. It would be very weird if they did. Okay, so we are doing the plunge. We are about 30 seconds from periapsis. That will be the deepest part of this, the most dangerous part of this. And once we're on our way back up again, then the worst should be over. And I am shocked, I don't want to jinx anything, but how are those antennas, how are those solar panels still there? How on earth are those solar panels still on? Okay. Our apoapsis is now positive, so we are now officially captured. And we are now on our way up. How did these not blow up? How did those not blow up? I don't understand. I didn't even see any temperature gauges, which is really weird. Now maybe I have the temperature gauges. What is that, F10? Or F9? No, that was a quick save. I forget what the temperature gauges are. F11? Oh, that's the one. That's the F overlay. Oh well. Aerodynamics overlay. Okay. There we go. Gauges were enabled. All gauges I don't understand how I didn't get temp. I don't understand this. I don't understand what just happened here. Yeah, I didn't even get the temperature gauges. Let alone, how on earth are these still on? Life is full of mysteries. The Kerbal gods have smiled upon me today. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Well, we bled off a lot of speed. Our apoapsis, you can see now, is now below the orbit of the moon because probably of the significant amount of drag that these solar panels are providing. Like, forget air brakes. No more air brakes. Put these guys on. That's all you need. But we're now out of the atmosphere. Okay, we're going to turn our lab back on. I have sitting in the Research and Development Center over 13,000 Kerbbucks, and there's still science to be processed here. There's data to be, like, how much? Yeah, there's still. Oh my gosh, I can transmit some more. Why don't I transmit some? I can transmit away another 442 science. There's still 617 data to be processed into science. Plus, there's still experiments I've not even processed yet. My scientists have been working very, very hard. The thing is, I went and looked at the tech tree. 13,000 science points is enough to unlock the entire remainder of the tech tree. So, in fact, I'm kind of done as far as that goes. There's no sense for me processing even what's left in here. So I think what I'll do is I'll wait for this to finish its processing, and I think I'm going to shut down the lab and then concentrate more on getting these folks back down to the surface. Now, while that is all transmitting, I do have some things that I do want to do. Number one is I always like to start these streams by thanking my patrons and my YouTube members who help to support this channel on a regular basis. Thank you very much. And in particular, what I'd like to do is always draw attention to my most recent Patreon patrons and YouTube members. So right here they are. It is Peter Shop and Charlie House. So thank you very much for supporting this channel, and of course a continued thank you to all of my Patreon patrons and YouTube members as well. Every month on the Discord we have ourselves a monthly challenge, and people are to submit a screenshot of their accomplishment of that monthly challenge, and we all vote on it. And the challenge this month, or last month, this was July, was one small step. You are to show a screenshot of you accomplishing some monumental feat of which you are proud of in your game, and the winner right here, it is Kaveric. I think I'm gonna go with Kaveric. It is Kaveric for this Apollo, but not Apollo. So actually, that looks to me very much like a kind of a gateway type of station. Not quite sure what's going on, but clearly we are in orbit of the moon. Very, very nice screenshot. So congratulations. Again, if you are interested in the Discord, link is down there in the description. Completely free, no obligations. Do what you can. So, let's get back to the game. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to do, actually, is let's get rid of the Science Plus window. You want to turn, John says, turn the Hitchhiker and Cupola into a capsule lander, add chutes and a heat shield. Not too far. No, they won't all fit. There's 4 Kerbals fit in there, and 2 Kerbals fit in there, and I got 6 Kerbals. Or sorry, 1 Kerbal fits in there. I have to use the lab. The lab is a required part of all of this. In fact, now that they're done transmitting, I'm going to stop the research. We're done. We're done with science. I'm going to go for trying to bring this entire thing down to the surface, putting on an appropriate number of parachutes. I think it can survive the descent, but we're not going to do it with Kerbals in it. I'm going to bring the Kerbals down in an SSTO, and then we will equip this thing at the same time to make its descent. That's kind of what my plan is. Hopefully that will all work. But before we get to all that, we do have to sort of fix up this orbit. I do want to end up in a low orbit about Kerbin. Right now, my apoapsis is just under 4,000 kilometers. My periapsis is well into the atmosphere. And I think I probably have some inclination. So, easiest way to check your inclination is simply, since the moon has an inclination of 0, see how far off we are. We are 0.9 degrees off from 0. So, when I put a maneuver right here on the descending node, and it's going to have to be a little bit of uppitude to it, and we'll keep an eye on our inclination there. Here, let's make it so you can see a little easier. Oh, there we go. So like, yeah, let me back off just a little bit. Oh, that's the wrong way. Oh, I'm doing the wrong number. That's a 0. Silly. It's the normal that I'm correcting. Yeah, that's good enough. Right about there. I'm getting entirely too picky. Putting it in an equatorial orbit will save us some time. So this will be... Is this on full? It is not. That's only a 2-second burn now. 4-second burn. That'll do. Okay, so this burn's coming up in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. So let's go to that. You could build a bigger SSTO and bring it down inside the SSTO. I could. I just want to keep this sort of under control. Is really kind of. I don't want to spend 2 or 3 streams building an SSTO. I'm not a huge SSTO guy. So although I kind of like the idea, I think I'm gonna just go for the simplest solution, and just go with that. But right now, first things first, we're going to go with... And then, I don't know what I'm going to do after this, because after this, like I said, the tech tree is done. Got to think about what to do with this series when we have probably a surplus of funds, no more need to worry about science anymore, and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, just about at our burn here. Oh, Michael is worried if I bring it down in an SSTO, the contract might not see it. That's a very good point. I always hate that aspect of the contract, that you actually have to bring back the vessel. Because that's typically not how you would do it. What's my inclination like? Beautiful. Okay, so don't need this moon. Unset that target. I'm thinking, because this is just my first aerobraking pass, and that brought my apoapsis all the way down from an escape trajectory all the way down to like only halfway, less than halfway to the moon. I'm really thinking that if I did another pass, I would probably be going down. So I don't think that is particularly a good idea. So I think I want to raise up my periapsis. And there's going to be some definite guesswork to this part of it. I'm thinking I'm going to raise my periapsis up to 55 kilometers. And I'm definitely going to do a quick save, because I don't have... You know, this is really guesswork. These solar panels here cannot be retracted. And clearly provide a ton of drag, but somehow seem to be impervious to the rigors of going through the atmosphere, so they never did blow up. But I do have to think about this. This is a very draggy vessel because of these solar panels. So yeah, it's something to think. Okay, we're about 3 minutes away from apoapsis. Let's get closer. And what I probably should do. You know, let's get to about a minute ahead here. And I'm going to do a quick save. So if this goes badly, I'm going to give myself permission to come back to here. There is a mod called Trajectories. I don't know if there are people mentioning that in the chat. That actually will predict what your orbit is after going through the atmosphere. It is a great mod. I thought it was one step too far from calling this a stock series if I installed Trajectories, so I didn't. But that takes out a lot of the guesswork. Well, pretty much takes out all the guesswork, I would say. Okay, get ourselves a little closer. Okay, there we go. So again, I'm going to aim for about 55 kilometers on that periapse. And we'll just do this without a minute. Oh, went too far. Let's leave it. It's at 56.4 kilometers. Let's just leave that. We'll see how that goes. Again, this is a lot of drag in this vessel. Still 336 meters per second, so my goal is to get this into some sort of low orbit. Oh, why did I quick save again? I guess that works. Okay, let's get down to the atmosphere. Yeah, I think just putting on a pile of chutes on this thing and just going through, I bet you this whole, if I go down nerve first, I bet you it will survive descent. I will endeavor to land it in the ocean, which I think will help. But again, all of that will be without Kerbals, is the idea. So this is just bringing down that apoapsis. Let's go this way. Retrograde surface. So this is just about bringing down that apoapsis down to something reasonable, and then we'll circularize and then we'll go up. I'd love to end up in something like a 100 by 100 or 120 by 120 kilometer orbit, something like that. We'll see how it goes. Now there was a comment in the YouTubes that said that if I read the description, which I rarely do, in the VAB about these solar panels, they do say they are heat resistant. That seems to me to be a little bit weird that they are heat resistant, and I also find it completely weird that they're able to survive what I'm doing right now, considering that I've often built craft and put air brakes around the top part to get it aerodynamically stable for an aerobraking maneuver like that. And air brakes have a tough time surviving an aerobraking pass. I often have to lower them partway through the whole experience. So why these solar panels should be better than air brakes, I think, is kind of silly. Thank you, Jay. I'm very glad that you're enjoying these videos. To bring up the big heat shield. Yeah, I just don't think I need the heat shield, Jelly. Alright. So here we go. And again, I'm really watching this apoapsis. It was around 4.5 kilometers, I think. 4,500 kilometers, something like that. So I want to kind of note how far this does go down during all this. Okay, we just passed periapsis. We're on our way up. So this is a very gentle pass compared to what we were doing at the end of last. I keep thinking last week, even though it was 3 weeks ago. All right. And again, solar panels are fine. They survived last time. They'll survive this time. Okay, my apoapsis did not go down nearly as... Let's do some time warping. Nearly as far as I thought. So I think I was being overly cautious, but I think it's better to be overly cautious than it is to be, you know, the other way around. Now, what's my Kerbal engineer? What do I got set up for HUDs? I do have that. Okay, we'll not use this. That's okay. All right, we're out of the atmosphere. We went just only about 1,000. We only brought it didn't bring it down too much. So let's get back up there. We'll bring the periapsis down a little bit further. got through there a little bit more efficiently than I would have guessed. Okay, lock that on to prograde. Where are you, Kerbin? There you are. And then we'll get into the SSTO. I think that's going to be the major, probably the thing that'll take up the bulk of the time for this video. And get these folks active. This is, by the way, these 6 people are my entire Kerbinaut core. Every Kerbal I have in this game, in this save, are on this ship. So if this goes south, we lose everybody. Okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It's at 56 kilometers. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down to 52 kilometers. I don't want to be. And again, F5 right here. 52. Looking at that periapsis. Alright, 52 kilometers on the periapsis. That looks good. Let's roll this just for solar panels again. Though, now that the lab is off, we're hardly using any. Okay. Yes, it will be a robotic SSTO because everybody's up here. I'm not going to hire a pilot or anything like that. We're just going to put a probe body on it. I mean, that's not a big deal to do. Okay, oh no, no more F5s. Let's just get down there. Okay, again, lock that onto the retrograde vector. We're at about 3.5 thousand kilometers, or 3.5 megameters. There's a discussion, a brief discussion in the Discord about why does nobody say the word megameters? They say it's thousands of kilometers. I don't know. I find megameters sounds weird. Yeah. No, this won't shut down the space program if this goes south. I mean, I do have 1.7 million Kerb bucks sitting in the bank. I have 13,000 science, which will unlock the entire tree. We'll have to replace some of these people. But it's not the end by any stretch if this does go south. Okay, we're in the atmosphere. Let's time warp to get this one done a little quicker. And again, I'm really watching that Apple axis. If it dives down a lot more than what I want, then that's that. Hello, is it Jasic? We'll go with that. Okay, so a little deeper into the atmosphere, a little more flames this time. Okay, we are through periapsis, coming up the other side. Solar panels are again apparently indestructible. So that went from about, remember I started about 3.5. It's probably going to knock off about another 1,000, it looks like. Okay, we are out, so we're now, yeah, I'm just going to keep riding this around. That's all I'm going to do from now on. Every time we're going to quick save, and we're going to just ride around. No more adjustments, just keep going round and round. These guys don't mind it a little bit long. I mean, over 2 years they've been in space on this mission, so well, it's, you know, a few more days. Alright, and we're going to really start time warping through these. This is all the same thing all the time. And again, this is all a fuel-saving maneuver. I mean, I don't have a ton of fuel. It's only 335, so I don't have the ability to bring down this orbit without using the atmosphere as an assistant. Okay, I'm pretty sure I can do one more pass safely, and then we'll have to do a little thinking. Okay, so that's again through the atmosphere. Let's do it again. Now 2.2 thousand kilometers. Each time a little bit closer to Kerbin. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong time. I'm so paranoid about overclocking the time warp. I'm pretty bad for that. Okay. And down in the atmosphere again. This would have been so much easier if I simply put, you know, a Mark III or less Kerbals and a Mark III command pod on the top. That's all I really needed to do. And then I could have just done this, dropped the pod, got down to the surface, parachutes on it, call it a day. But no, I got to build this great big interplanetary craft. So I got to make it complicated. All right. I think I could have left it at the 45. I think I'm being a smidge too cautious. Ride it around again for sure. It's now down to about 1,700 kilometers on the Apowaps. Well, thank you, Dupree. It's appreciated. All right, back in space again. Let's do a quick save. Well, let's go again. I'm so used to, in all my interplanetary missions, to never consider what it costs to get back into a low Kerbin orbit. I always just ignore that bit because I always end up doing this. Yeah, Dupree's talking about making orbit. Making orbit is your big step in the game, and like, if you play the game a lot and you watch a video of someone who has played the game a lot, like, getting to orbits, like, they just do it all the time and it feels so trivial, but it definitely takes practice. But honestly, that's like half the battle in almost every mission is simply making a reasonably efficient and accurate journey into low Kerbin orbit. That's half the battle. And once you kind of get that down, it takes a little bit of practice, the rest is pretty easy. I mean, well, it all depends on what you're doing, I suppose. But, you know, I think that's the biggest challenge to overcome. The biggest single hurdle to the game is just getting the feel for getting to orbit. I make it look easy because I've only done like about 1,000 orbits. I have no idea, actually, how many times I have flown a rocket into orbit. But it's a lot. I am still going to go around another time. I am being way, way too cautious. Again. Still over 1,000 kilometers on the Apoapsis there. So, like here, rather than looking at it, you can see it's here. Like we brought it down, but it's not down a lot. Okay, where am I at? Okay, time warping again. We're in the atmosphere once again. Yeah, my typical pattern for aerobraking is about 45 kilometers is my typical one. almost regardless of where I'm coming back from. And I find that that works well. Crafts survive it. The thing that's got me concerned are just these. That's the part that's messed me up, is how much drag is coming from these solar panels. And that's what I don't know. So that's why I erred on the side of cautious. When I raised my periapsis, it wasn't out of fear of this thing blowing up. It was fear of there being so much drag on this that it would end up not coming back out of the atmosphere. In hindsight now, I was too cautious. We finally dipped under 1,000 kilometers on the apoapsis, so I should definitely have kept my periapsis probably close to where it was. But you know, if this ship, if all of a sudden my apoapsis was going to go into the atmosphere, there wasn't a lot of recourse other than bailing out all the Kerbals, but then I would have lost the ship. And managing 6 Kerbals with parachutes probably wouldn't have been fun either. Okay, here we go. See what we end up now. We're at 977 kilometers on the periapsis, or apoapsis. See where we end up after this. Yeah, this is version 1.12.5, so the most recent version, and almost certainly the final version of KSP that I'm playing here. Oh yeah, if I had one solar panel break, that could be fun. This thing might go bad really quick, I would hope, yeah. Because everything would be unbalanced. I would probably get Bill out to remove the other one. The issue becomes is I believe these 2 solar panels are my only means of electrical generation. Again, an undersight on my part. Is that a word? An undersight, an oversight. Hello, Oliver. First time watching. Welcome. I'm glad you found us. All right, so we're now at... I can go around. I can keep doing this. 674. Orbital period is down to just 52 minutes. So... Oh, there's still science aboard this thing. How did I end up... Didn't I stop this lab? Yeah, I did. Why is there still science? There must have been something that interrupted it last... Or did I run out of electricity? Oh, that might be it. Maybe I did it in the dark and it ran out of electricity. That's very likely. Now we're transmitting while going through the atmosphere. Yeah, these are adamantium solar panels. There we go. That's our transmission. Yeah, I must have ran out of electric charge because I probably did it in the dark at the beginning of the stream. Alright, we are down. This is now 500. See, now things are getting a little bit, was 600 and something. See, now things are getting a little serious. It's almost down to 400 kilometers here on the apoapsis. I'm thinking I probably have the Delta V. Let's just check this out. Like, there's no reason to conserve fuel beyond what I have. Do I have the Delta V that if I made a circle right now... Like, let's just... I'm not going to circularize it this, but this is a way to sort of just check. How much would the burn be to circularize? Here, I want to circularize at a lower orbit, but... 209. I got... it's... Yeah, I got the... That's with 100. I can do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a maneuver up here. And the purpose of this maneuver is simply to bring up that periapsis to, I'm going to go for 120. 120 is a nice orbit to rendezvous with. And we'll get into our space plane. So we're going to just bring our periapsis out of the atmosphere. That's it. There we go, 120 kilometers there, so that's going to be a 52 meter per second burn, and then there'll be another burn there too. We should have the fuel for all this. So that is a 21 second burn up the thrust here. Now it's a 10 second burn. F5. Let's do it. Put this back on orbit now. Yeah, I think I'm good on DV now. There's no reason to get too silly with all this. So done with the aerobraking. Gonna park it. Jeb has found his parking spot. Now he's just gotta back it in. All right, so 3 and 2 and maybe start a smidge early there. Because I'll be reducing throttle here towards the end. There we go. 120.005. And then one more maneuver at this end. This will be a retrograde burn. Make this a 120 by 120 orbit. Get the two periapsi right on each other here. Oh. That is most certainly good enough. So that is a 171 meter per second burn with 283 left, so easy peasy. How many Kerbals do I have? I have 6. They are all right here. All 6 of them. It was funny in this save, I, for whatever reason, just wasn't getting those rescue Kerbal contracts. I only got 1, I think, in the entire up to here, and so that was how I got Louis here. And then finally I realized I needed another scientist to run the lab, so I just flat out hired Phil, which I basically never do. So it was it's kind of a weird thing. It's also weird that I don't have a decent space station. I say the word decent because I do have a crappy space station, that I don't have some sort of LKO ferry that I usually have to go from the surface to here by this stage of the game. Those things are all absent, but maybe that would be a good thing to start putting some energy towards after all this, when I'm not worried about contracts and stuff. And part of that, all right, about to start here. Part of that had to do with just the contracts weren't coming up. But part of it, I think, had to do with the fact that I often was making a YouTube poll to say what contract should I do next. And people were always picking, understandably, no, go further, you know, do this, do that. Keep doing the far out things instead of, like, building infrastructure. I can get it, but I like building infrastructure. So, okay, we are almost there. Almost there. We're going to be in a nice little orbit here. Lovely. Okay, there we go. 120 or by 120 are darn near good enough. These guys can now sit up here nice and safely. They don't have any issues. We got rid of all our science finally. Yeah, there's 0.079. So let's get back to the Space Center, build ourselves an SSTO.